Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bourbon Basement. This is the first stream and first podcast of 2025. We hope you all had a fantastic New Year and holidays in general. I believe I said Christmas last episode, so we'll just leave that in the past. But we're going to be doing something. Do you want to say exactly why we're doing the specific bourbon that we are today? Or are you going to leave that for next episode?
We wanted to do Bardstown Bourbon Company uh, today because we're going on a tour there tomorrow. That'll be our second tour that we've taken there. And I'll tell them a little bit about the tours and stuff later. Are you done with your introduction? You didn't say I'm Ryan and I'm Steve.
They know who we are by now, surely.
So the Bardstown Bourbon Company. I want to do story time first. I don't want to
Story time.
I don't want to talk about Bardstown yet. I wanted to get into some stuff. So, I collect bourbon, but I like to collect it to drink. So, with that in mind, just keep that in mind when you hear these stories. You all probably heard a little bit about my auction fiasco that we had.
Well, fiasco's an overkill statement.
It was an unexpected surprise that was unfortunately pretty expensive.
It was completely expected because he's the one that bid on all the bourbons. Just putting that out there. So it was completely expected.
So I was off a lot in December. I saved my vacation time at the end of the year. I took off a long time in December, and I found an auction, a bourbon auction. Of course, when I go bourbon hunting, my wife and I, my son, we all go looking for bottles and stuff, and we never find anything that's affordable. We find some good bottles, but they're just way out of our price range. So I got on this auction site, and I said, "Man, it'll be kind of cool if I can win some bottles on this auction site." Well, it's a weekly auction, and for 3 weeks in a row, I bid on many bottles. And by Thursday of that week, I was always outbid. So because I put in a price that I'm willing to pay, it's probably at or below MSRP on most of them. Anyway, so then the week of Christmas came, and by Thursday, I was still winning 30 some bottles of bourbon in this auction. And I got a little worried, so I went to my wife and I was like, "Hey, baby, these auctions I've been bidding on, I think I'm winning too many." And she goes, "Don't worry about it. You'll get outbid." And I said, "Yeah, I will. I will get outbid on some, but it seems like there's a lot less traffic on the auction this time." So anyway, by Saturday, I was still winning 27 bottles. And when the auction closed, I won 23 bottles of bourbon. So that's my auction story. I've got a couple bottles back here I'm just going to share with you guys. There's one in particular that I'm real excited about, and I want you all to see if you can find a history on it and give it to me, or if you know anything about it, because I can find very little about it. But the other story, I'm going to show those bottles to you in a minute. I want to get to this other story first. So,
all of them?
These bottles right here.
The ones that were
Yeah, I'm not showing all 23. Just
dang it.
The other story,
Maybe next stream.
I never, like I said, we go bourbon hunting all the time. I buy my bourbons to drink. We went into a bunch of liquor stores, and some of the liquor stores here around home, you can find good bottles. Everything's overpriced. So this absolutely never happens to me. And last weekend, I think it was right after we did this podcast, we went out, and at a big liquor store where
they had some after holiday deals, I think is what you could call it.
I guess. I don't know what was going on, but I found several bottles at, or at least the closest I've ever seen to MSRP, and I went ahead and picked these up. So
bottles that he had been looking for. We had just talked about some of these.
Well, if you watch the E.H. Taylor episode, we talked about getting the E.H. Taylor single barrel.
And thought we'd never find it for a decent price.
So I got my store receipt right here. I wanted y'all to know how much I got this for, because this one was $84.98, so $85.
Now, some of these prices may be a little skewed because they did come in gift bundles. They had like wine and champagne and stuff with them, and some chocolates
But this bottle was $85. So $85 for the E.H.
which is only $30 more than what you get a regular small batch at the distillery for regular E.H. Taylor.
Yeah. So anyway, this one in the liquor stores around here, it's $400.
Yeah, it's high.
All right. So great. So the second one, another bottle that I've been wanting. I haven't been able to find for under $400. The Stag. So I finally got a bottle of Stag. Never tried it. I've had E.H. Taylor, but never the single barrel. But I've never had Stag at all.
We're very excited. I'm very excited about the single
I
barrel
am too.
E.H.
So the Stag anyway got it for $69.98, so $70 for the Stag. The next one,
This is
Blanton's
a good one too.
Gold.
Oh, Goldie.
Blanton's Gold. I think at my local liquor store here in town, this is $400. Let's just go.
Like $4.80.
I don't know. It may be $3.99 or $2.99 or $3.99. Anyway, the Blanton's Gold. I did pay $159 for that. I don't know if that's a good price or not.
Well, considering that regular Blanton's at a regular
It's
liquor store,
$75 at Buffalo Trace for the regular Blanton's.
and if you get it at the liquor store, it's like $130. I don't think that's a bad price.
I don't think so either. So $160 basically for the Blanton's Gold. Then actually got 2 bottles of this. Another look. All these are Buffalo Trace products. Another Buffalo Trace
popular around.
Another Buffalo Trace product. Elmer T. Lee actually got 2 bottles of the Elmer T. Lee.
He had been looking for that for a while.
Another one I've never had. Blanton's Gold I've never had. I've had Blanton's, but not Blanton's Gold. Not Elmer T. Lee. So the Elmer T. Lee actually got 2 bottles of Elmer T. Lee, and I paid $67.98 a piece. So $68 for those. So just a blessing that happened to me. I've never found bottles like that for MSRP, or at least near it, and actually found it, come across them. What a great night. What a great wife to allow me to.
She was instigating it.
She does. She's a big instigator.
I was told that she was completely instigating a lot of these purchases when he wasn't going to.
Some bottles I'm like, oh no, that's too high, or I just bought a lot of bottles. And she's like, oh, go ahead and get it, honey.
Nah, splurge a little.
So that's a great bottle. Now, some bottles from the auction that I'll talk about real quick. One that I'm an Old Forester fan. Love the Old Forester Statesman. Want the Old Forester 1924. I'm looking for that bottle. Trying to get it pretty reasonable. But one bottle I did find was the Old Forester single barrel proof. Got that won this at the auction.
That was one of the 23 that he actually wanted to win.
This one I did want to win, and I would have bid more on it and didn't have to bid that much more. I think I won this for $55 at that auction. So you can get good prices at that auction.
They kill you with shipping, though.
Shipping's expensive. You still pay another 15%.
That being said, the packaging is crispy. They use the unpoppable bubble wrap. They use all kinds of vacuum seal stuff. It's crazy. They make sure that it's not going to break.
Pack impressively. But Old Forester single barrel proof. One of my bottles I've been really looking for, and this is my special bottle that I need some more information on. All right, I don't know. You tell me.
He's already told me that this one's not going to be drank. We can move these back a
little
bit.
I don't know. So I buy liquor. I buy my bourbon to drink. I don't buy bourbon just to collect and set on the shelf. I want them setting on the shelves, but when they're empty, if I don't have another bottle, I'll just put some decorative stuff in it and keep it on my shelf. So this is Jim Beam 1795. I'll open this all the way so you all can get a good look at this bottle.
See, I told you that technically it's meant to come open all the way.
So anyway, Jim Beam 1795. The only thing I could find out about it, it was produced in late 2011, early 2012. They only made one particular run of it. I know the first release was 200 bottles or 250 bottles to the Frankfurt airport in Germany, the duty-free station. So that's where these bottles were originally sent. In one article, it said that was all they made. So maybe that article come out a little bit sooner, and they produced a little bit more after that, because I did find another article that said they produced 6,000 of these bottles. And that was
6,000 worldwide.
But that's it. Yeah, it doesn't say they made any more. I don't think they ever released them in the United States. This was all overseas in Germany, and it represents the 1795 represents Jacob Beam's first corn whiskey sour mash barrel that he produced in the United States.
What about this bottle, though, folks?
So Jim Beam was German. They come from Germany. They were German immigrants, the family. Awesome display bottle. And like I said, I buy my stuff to drink. Somebody out there that sees this and is very interested, maybe you know something about it, send me some information on this bottle, because I don't want to drink it. If there was only 6,000 made and that was made in 2011, it's 14 years ago. Half of those bottles may be drunk by now. Who knows? So I don't want to bust it open and drink it unless I know more about it. So it's going to sit on the shelf for a while.
I don't like holding it.
I love holding it. It's a cool bottle.
I don't like having the responsibility of it.
But so that's my Jim Beam 1795. I'm asking for information. Anybody out there know anything?
Oh,
let me know.
Not only that, if you haven't already, check out our TikTok. Same name as this and same name as Twitch. The Bourbon Basement, no spaces. We actually made it was a New Year's post, and it was one of the trending things that's going around on some of the bourbon pages, and it was a compilation of a few different things. It was like your most expensive bourbon, your cheapest bourbon, your weirdest but still good bourbon, most bourbons that are a bourbon that most people wouldn't have. If you haven't checked that video out, go check it out and let us know what you think of that lineup that we had on there, and let us know what you would have put for that lineup.
And we've got a bunch since then. I've had a great bourbon December.
That video was only a few days ago, and it's already outdated. Imagine that.
So, it is, because there would be more expensive ones.
Yes.
There would be better ones.
There would be rarer ones. So that video's already outdated, but let us know what you would have put in that. Drop it in the comments section. If you go back and watch some of our old live streams, guys, you can still comment on those videos if you don't comment live, and we'll reply to every one of them. Or you can comment on our TikTok videos. Give us some activity out there, folks. Come on. Give us someone to talk to. We need friends.
Let's get back to why we're here today. I'm sorry for the stories. I had to share my excitement. That stuff never happens to me. So
it was just meant to be. He's had a very good start to 2025 thus far.
Yes. Anyway. All right. So Bardstown Bourbon Company. We're going on a tour tomorrow. We've been there once. We did the whiskey thieving.
Whiskey thieves.
Yeah. Tour last time. We went in this warehouse. They had 4 barrels there. They talked about them. We got the taste them right out of the barrel. It's kind of cool. Bardstown Bourbon offers many tours. They offer a tour with Steve Nally, the master distiller, and you go around with him. It's like 2 or 3 hours, I think, and you can you taste his favorites that he's done. The one we're doing tomorrow is just a production tour, so we'll get to see like their production facility and all that kind of thing,
which is a normal distillery tour.
Which I like. But a little bit about the distillery. So it was, like I said, 2016 it opened. It's a very modern distillery. They have a restaurant. They have a bar. They have a gift shop. And they have one of the coolest things that I saw was a whiskey library. And they have over like 400 bottles of antique whiskeys there. So you can go and, I mean, they're not Bardstown, of course. They're just the history of kind of like bourbon and whiskey. And you can travel back in time, see 400 bottles, a lot of them pre-prohibition era. That's kind of cool. So
are they selling any?
I don't think so.
You talk about some rare stuff.
That's something that's kind of cool. So Bardstown Bourbon Company, they're on a big facility. They're in Bardstown, 100-acre facility. Farmland surrounds all their warehouses and their rick houses and everything. Steve Nally is the master distiller, and if you don't know who that is, he is in the Hall of Fame, the Bourbon Hall of Fame, as a master distiller. He started at Maker's Mark, worked there for over 30 years.
I was about to say, how did Bardstown get lucky enough to pick him up?
Well, he was their #1 employee. When they went to open this, Steve Nally was the man that they wanted to come run it. So they gave him a lot of, according to the last tour I had, and I talked to him a little bit at the gift shop. He's actually signed my bottles here. Signed both of them. But anyway, talked to him a little bit. He had a lot of freedom with this, and he probably did something. So coming from Maker's Mark, you remember when I did the Maker's Mark episode, they made Maker's Mark. That's all Maker's Mark makes. So Steve Nally coming over here to Bardstown, and he didn't leave Maker's Mark and come to Bardstown. He left Maker's Mark. I think
Probably
he went.
retired.
Well, I think he started up another company or something in Wyoming, and did some stuff there. And then I don't know if they snuck him out of Wyoming or if he come back to Kentucky and they was like, hey, you need to come join us. But he was employee number one from everything I've read. But anyway, so Maker's Mark only made Maker's Mark. Well, Bardstown, when they started out with a Fusion series, which their Fusion series, they took other bourbons and blended it with their very young bourbon because it wasn't ready to put out by itself yet. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what we're going to do today. So the Fusion series, it ran through nine series, I guess. They had Fusion number 9. That's when it stopped. That's when the Bardstown bourbon, the ones that they were producing for themselves, had matured enough, and then they started making the Origin series. So in the Origin series, if you all buy a Bardstown Bourbon Origin series, the one we're actually going to try today, it is all Bardstown's production.
So nothing mixed in.
They blend it with other Bardstown stuff maybe, but it's all their bourbon. This one is a Bardstown Origin series bottled in bond. It is all 6-year-old bourbon, and it's 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. All right, so that's what we're going to be trying today. Some of the other things that they do, they do a lot of stuff. So Bardstown is a big producer of bourbon and whiskey. They're like one of the top 3, I think, in the world. So they've grown fast, but they don't just produce bourbon for Bardstown. 80% of their bourbon is produced for other labels. So people hire Bardstown, basically pay them to make their bourbon. So this one here is the Discovery series. In the Discovery series, I got this one because, so you got to be kind of careful with Bardstown. Because if you see Bardstown bourbon, it's in Bardstown, Kentucky. If you're collecting true Kentucky bourbon like I am, they mix bourbon in the Discovery series. No, it's the Collaboration series. So they have a Discovery series and a Collaboration series. But in those 2 series, they mix bourbons from all over the world. So it's not just, and whiskeys too, I guess. It's not just Kentucky bourbon. So not all their bourbons that they make are going to be Kentucky bourbons, because they might have that mixed with a bourbon from Indiana or Tennessee or Scotland, or a Scottish whiskey. I'm kind of stumbling, but it's kind of hard to. Well, there's a lot. There's a lot in there.
It's hard to concentrate when I'm twisting a bottle in front of you.
Well, so anyway, they do the Discovery series. I purchased Discovery series number. I'm sorry. Yeah, Discovery series number 11.
You can't see. Give me that.
Because it is all. Read what it is. It's all Kentucky bourbons, and it's 2 Kentucky bourbons that's not theirs, and 1 that is, and you'll see right here.
All right, so new blend of bourbon makers. The blend is 73%. Origin was Kentucky, 13-year
barrels.
13-year barrels. Corn 75 rye, 13, 12 malted barley. And then blend was 21% Kentucky Origin, 10-year, 78% corn, 13% rye, and 9% malted barley. And then the last blend was 6% Bardstown Bourbon Company in Kentucky, 6-year, 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley.
Yeah, so 70% of the barrels that made this bourbon here are 13-year-old. And then 20-something is 10-year-olds, and then they mix 6% of their bourbon in this.
I think that's kind of awesome. They put that information on the bottle. On the label.
It is, and it all had different mash bills.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are rye mashes, and theirs is a wheat mash.
Yep.
So Steve Steve Nally, that's what he does now. Very creative process in all that now. So, Master Distiller, he's the one behind most of that stuff. So he's doing a lot of blending there, a lot of blending going on, but they still make their own.
A lot of experimenting.
And this is what I'm the most interested in. I like when you produce, distill, age your own stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that you can't, not every distiller can do that, or not every craft bourbon company, place can do that. So it is good that they can produce or get something. Here's something else. If we have enough money, we can go to Bardstown, choose a mash bill, choose a yeast, choose a barrel char, choose how long we want to age it, and they'll make bourbon for us. 300 barrels minimum. I read 300 barrels minimum. I have no earthly idea how much that would cost.
Well, you're building 300 barrels worth, so let's just go ahead and say that's a lot of dough.
Well, yeah, probably. But 300 barrels worth at the minimum, and the Bourbon Basement can have its own bourbon.
Do we got any rich friends out there? We could really use a sponsor.
So they Bardstown Bourbon Company, they do a lot of that. The Discovery Series, it's interesting. This is a fantastic bottle. Sorry, we will not be tasting it tonight. I don't know where the other Kentucky bourbons came from. They don't give you that information. They just tell you it's from Kentucky. So some of the other ones, this is the regular Origin Series. It's 6-year-old bourbon. I got just the small bottles. I got these for Christmas. I thought they were cool. This one here is the bottled in bond, which this one also is the bottled small version of this. They do have an Origin Series rye.
We love baby bottles.
And they have a Origin Series. What is this one?
Just Origin Series. Kentucky Straight Bourbon.
Read on the side there. What's it say? It's wheated. Is it wheat? It's a wheated.
It's
yes.
53% corn, 39% wheat.
So 39% wheat. So it's
8% malted barley.
It's
now I don't blame you for not being able to read that. That's kind of tough to read. That's gold writing,
and it's a little dark in here. So, our producer, what's she saying?
I don't know. The computer's dead. All right. Apparently, this was a comment that she saw when moderating our thing. It says, "What is the significance of the design on the bottles on the back?" So like the tree and then your corn here.
Okay.
Sorry. When I was doing this kind of gesture, I was letting the producer know that the computer was dead. I forgot to plug it up. So we're
technical difficulties. And what was the last thing I said to you?
I don't know what you did.
I said, the computer probably needs to be plugged up. And you said, it'd be all right.
So you've been using it then, because the volume was also turned on, which I didn't do.
So if you can see on the back of the bottles, some of these have corn.
You saw it on the bottle a little bit
This one here has oak tree. Some of them have wheat. I'm guessing that's going along with the bourbons themselves. So this one is the bottled in bond. They just went with the oak tree. This one here is corn because it's got a lot of corn mash bill. The ones with wheat, where's it? The wheated one right here. The big bottle has wheat on the back of it. And it's just a cool design. I guess our producer likes that a lot. It may be an easy way to identify them.
Pay attention to that if you're looking at the bottle if you don't feel like reading.
All right. You want to get into tasting this mug?
If you've done all you need to do.
I think so. This has been a spacey one. If y'all have some Bardstown bourbon, why don't you get a glass, grab a glass, pop it open, pour you a drink, sit back, and try to identify some of these things with us. If you don't, grab one of your favorites over there and just sit back and really try to savor the taste and smell and enjoy a good bourbon. Try to develop your palate a little bit with us tonight.
Bring in the new year with us here.
All right, let's see if we can get a good cork pop.
We did. That was pitiful.
No.
Bardstown's got a wheat pop.
Hold on. Pop!
I had to do it again.
There you go.
All right, we did get some new glasses. We can't display what's on the side of them because they are logoed glasses, and we're not going to. We advertise ourselves, no one else. and every bourbon that we drink, but you know, to each their own. What we getting?
I'm getting some apple at first. When I go in first, I get apple. It's not as sweet as some of the other ones that we've been smelling.
We've been spoiled.
Well,
That's what we've been.
We had some real sweet smelling ones.
We've been spoiled with everything but Town Branch.
I get just a high dose of apple.
It's similar in that stance to EH.
Really, because EH is my favorite.
Well,
smell.
I'm just talking about the apple. Like
Yeah,
EH, I think smells like apple pie. This is more like apple.
You get the caramel, and I
yeah.
get a little chocolate with this one though.
It's not bad. A little chariness, even in the nose. Not an overwhelming amount. I'm getting.
Producer's going to take a whiff.
I'm getting berries. So it's a fruity. It's like a charred fruit kind of thing going on.
It's a mellow. It's a mellow smell.
Yeah, it's not harsh. It doesn't burn your nose.
It doesn't come out strong. This is bottled in bond, so it's 100 proof. Yeah, it doesn't come out strong. It doesn't overwhelm you at all. It's real nice.
I can't show you all the tears.
Well, there's tears on the bottle right there. You see that?
Yeah. I can't show you all the tears just because of the.
You can show it. It doesn't matter.
Well,
it doesn't matter. Mine's got fingerprints all over it now.
The tears are decent.
All right. If you want to talk about the tasting as we do it, I know we repeat it every time, but we may have a new watcher.
If you've never tuned in before, if you know, you know what we're about to do if you've been here before. But as far as our tastings go, we tried to do some of the best tips that we've gotten from all the different tastings that we've done, and we've kind of compiled them into 4 different steps. The first step, you're going to take an acclimation sip. It's just getting rid of the burn. Second sip is also an acclimation. Your third sip is when you actually try to start figuring out what kind of flavors you're tasting and whatnot. And then your fourth sip, we usually use for distiller's water to try to change the profile of it a little bit. Doesn't have anything in it, obviously, but it does. It's amazing what distilled water will do to bourbon.
Water will change it. It changes the smell and the taste. So.
All right, I'm going in for acclimation number 1.
Already did 1.
Mm-hmm. Back to the mellowness. Not a whole lot of burn or anything going on here. I don't even think that you really need a second acclimation sip, but we're going to go in for acclimation number 2.
I had the guys in my family over. We did a bourbon tasting. This was one of the, I think our producer's going to have a sip. This is one of the ones we did when we did our first tasting. I was a little overzealous with that first tasting. I went with 8.
8 within a matter of a couple hours. Plus more when we were.
Oh no, this was the second one. Because this is the one that 2 of them picked as their number 1 bourbon, compared to E.H. Taylor and all those other good lineups that we had. Do the tasting recap, guys. If you go back and watch our episode about tasting recap.
No, that wasn't the most recent one. You only did 5 that time. You did 8 on the first one.
I know, but I think this one was in the 5. Bardstown got first, was voted on first by 2 people. That's when we did the E.H. Taylor, the Rebel, Bardstown, and the Poor Man's Pappy.
I don't think we might not know Rebel. I thought McKenna was in that.
Henry McKenna. Yep. The Rebel 10, Henry McKenna.
Anywho.
So this one was, yeah, it is very sweet. Our producer thinks it's very sweet. So the smell doesn't come out sweet. It does come out sweet. Have you done 3 yet?
No, I'm going for 3
right,
now.
I'm going for 3 right now myself, and then we'll start.
I think the smell comes out sweet.
She says apple pie like you. I get the apples. I don't get the pie part. I don't get that cinnamon and stuff. I get a little bit of caramel. I get a little bit of chocolate. I get a lot of apple. And I taste the same exact thing.
I do get a little bit of chocolate in the taste, not the smell.
I smell and taste.
I'll get a little bit of coffee, and I don't think it's this. But it's like full on dessert.
It's a very good bourbon.
So apple pie, coffee. I'm not getting any a la mode, but can you imagine? Can you imagine? Boy,
Yeah.
it's pleasant though.
So I taste the apple. I taste the caramel. I taste just like milk chocolate at the end.
Did any kind of experts give any
I
insight on
didn't
this?
I didn't read anything about it.
Might not be anything out there.
There is. I mean, every one of them. Yeah. My producer says desserty bourbon.
Yeah, who needs dessert when you got this? This and E.H. Taylor, guys. If you want a
Man.
desserty bourbon,
It doesn't linger very long.
no.
So the finish is quick. It goes down smooth.
The chariness kind of sticks with you a little longer than everything else.
The char is what I taste most on the finish. Like once it's gone out of my mouth and it sits there a little bit, I get that little bit of char come back. But it's really smooth and it's really quick. All right, so we'll go with our
This is
distiller's
our
water.
I'm going with 4 drops. We'll see if we got any smell. We'll smell it first, see if we got any changes in the profile of it. I'm not getting a whole lot of difference on my end.
No, it's still
It
very
smells more mellow, so it smells more watered down, obviously.
it's very mellow though, ain't it? This is one of the ones. I don't know if it's the different glass because we usually use these glasses, and we actually have a Glencairn now. So,
That's what they're called.
yeah, and this is like that's a poor man's Glencairn, I guess. I don't know what that's called.
It's a decorative. It's a decorative, just not
Well,
as
when you
useful
do it, when you
Glencairn.
do bourbon, you need something wide at the bottom and narrow at the top, so it brings those aromas up.
Professionals,
to your
don't you
nostrils.
know?
So I don't know if it's different, but it's very mellow
So
compared to some of the others.
Peasantly of us to have been using these glasses for so long.
Even with the
I mean,
the
it's
water.
still sweet.
All right. Yeah, it changed a little bit, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Lots of spices.
I get that spice
The
too.
spices come out a lot more. Huh? I thought it said drinky. Sorry, I'm trying to read a whiteboard in the background. Producer says it's good for first-time drinkers. I don't think it's too bad. The
No.
initial burn and stuff isn't going to turn you away.
So it is bottled in bond. It is 100 proof because all bottled in bond are. This one is 6 years old. Has to be a minimum of 4 for a bottled in bond.
It's good.
But it's very good. Now, I usually wouldn't recommend 100 proof for a first time drinker.
It doesn't feel like 100
but it does not drink like 100 proof bourbon.
Neither does the past few that we've done having. E.H. Taylor didn't feel like 100 proof bourbon.
I guess that's when you're getting into good quality bourbons.
I suppose so, yeah.
Instead
heck, I
of
would even say Blanton's is about the same way.
I get more of that spice, but now my finish is sweeter.
Smooth and sweet, yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange. It's got a lot of different. It's got a little bit of complexity to it for such a simple bourbon.
It's a very good bourbon. I highly recommend the Bardstown Origin Series.
Oh.
I've never had. Well, I have had these just in tastings and stuff.
I'm still getting. So on the second or the fourth taste that I did when I added in the water, the spices came out, but I was getting more like nutmeg, a little bit of. I mean, I might even go as far to say it's cayenne pepper, with just that little kick in the side a little bit. Mm-hmm. Kick in the side a little bit. Nothing outrageous, but then on the finish, it goes back to sweet and smooth. It's very weird. It's weird how that happens. It hits you up front, and then all of a sudden, it just mellows out toward the back of the throat. Whereas if you didn't put the distiller's water in it, it stayed smooth and sweet the entire time with very minimal burn. I'm impressed. I don't remember trying this one.
Yeah, I don't know where. I think it ranked number 3 on yours.
Well, I guess
no. I think it ranked number 4 on yours because I think you went.
We had a good layout.
E.H. Taylor, and then the Poor Man's Pappy, and then Henry McKenna. You did the Henry McKenna 10-year, and then you did this one was number 4, and then the Rebel Yell was, or not Rebel Yell, I'm sorry, 10, Rebel 10-year was number 5.
All of them good. When you're putting them up against each other, though, it's tough.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good bourbons in the Bourbon Basement.
When you're doing that, you're kind of tasting them side by side too. Right. So you're getting a good, you don't have to work on memory. You just know, hey, this one was better than this one. This one was worse than this one. But
I'm impressed.
it may just hit you different this time.
It's a lot better having it away from some of the other really good ones that we have down here.
I like this one on its own. Yeah, I like this one on its own.
I don't like comparing bourbons. I just like enjoying them.
Very good bourbon. Highly recommend. I think this one was, I'm going to say right around 50. It could be a little less. It could be a little more, but I think right around 50.
At the distillery.
At the distillery. I think these were right around 60 at the distillery. I'm seeing some of their collaborative series and stuff like that going for $150 and stuff at these liquor stores. So I don't know what that's going to, I'm a little bit excited about tomorrow. Yeah, I'm excited about tomorrow because what we're going to do is we're going to take the tour. I'm going to see the production. Last time I went to the thieving.
And he's going to buy 8 more bottles of bourbon.
I'm going to try not to buy 8 more bottles of bourbon.
I'll probably buy another series next week.
But one thing that I have to be very careful about with Bardstown is I have to definitely check the side and make sure it is all Kentucky bourbon.
They like to mix and match a little bit.
They are very good about writing Kentucky bourbon on the label.
And all of these say where it's from, and all these say Kentucky.
But they write it down here, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, if it is all Kentucky. The ones that aren't, if they mix a bourbon from Canada, they've got bourbons from
all over.
Not bourbons. I said bourbon for Canada. A whiskey from Canada or a Scotch from Scotland or something. If they mix that stuff in there, it does not say Kentucky.
Hey, shout out to Scotland. If we got any Scottish people.
If they mix Indiana bourbon or Tennessee bourbon in there, it will not say Kentucky on it. We are just Kentucky bourbons.
Everything in the Bourbon Basement is a Kentucky bourbon.
Yes, everything we're going to do a show on. I have made mistakes and purchased a bottle or two that is not Kentucky bourbon.
I think in the entire Bourbon Basement, there's 2 bottles of whiskey and 1 bottle of vodka.
And it's very easy. Very easy to make. The vodka was obvious, but I love that vodka, so I got it. But
shout out to Castle and Key vodka. If you never tried it, go try it.
It's very good. We'll do an episode on Castle and Key not too long from now, or sometime this year anyway. But just be careful what you're going for. Don't be confused like me. I have had some mistakes where I thought it was a Kentucky bourbon because I purchased Kentucky bourbons from that distiller, and then when I got home and looked at it a little more closely or did a little bit of research on it, it wasn't
always
a Kentucky
pay attention to your labels. If it doesn't say Kentucky bourbon on the front or Kentucky bourbon whiskey, most of the time it's not going to be a Kentucky bourbon whiskey.
That's right. If it says Kentucky bourbon whiskey on
it's
there,
a Kentucky bourbon.
It's a Kentucky bourbon. But not all Kentucky bourbons will say Kentucky bourbon whiskey. Some of them just leave that off. I don't know why. Most places are proud to have Kentucky
Do your research.
Do your research if you want Kentucky bourbon. What was I getting ready to say? And I lost my train of thought.
I don't know. Before we lose our train of thought again, though, we need to do our ranking system before we forget about that because we haven't done that in a couple weeks.
You're right.
I feel like it's been forever.
Well, let's do it. Because I know. What were we going? 10?
10. And you're not comparing it to something else.
No, I'm not comparing it to anything else.
I think it's very beginner friendly. Yes. I think it's very smooth. I think it's sweet. Similar to the ones that we've had here recently.
Easy drink.
We've been very spoiled. It's simple yet complex at the same time if you're really trying to pull those flavors out, which I found enjoyable. Completely different profiles with and without the distiller's water, so I would probably drink this one neat or chill it.
Because I drink it both ways.
I do like chilled bourbon. That's why I usually put it on the rocks. I drank this one price, availability, difficulty level, I guess I should say. Not really difficulty level, but 7.
That's a very good score because I was going to give it. I'm giving it a 7.5. Yeah,
I think it's the only one you've ever ranked higher than me.
I'm giving it a 7.5. I enjoy it very much. I could see me sitting down and drinking more of this.
Glasses of that.
More than this than I should probably because it is very good. I did like it neat. But I'm like you. I like my bourbon cool.
I would chill it probably.
So chilled or with ice. When you put ice in there and you let it set, I'm wondering what it would do. Will it dilute it too much? Because the
Probably.
flavors were very mild.
Well,
nothing jumped out and got me, you know?
Mine may have even been diluted in the tasting because I didn't leave a whole lot at the bottom and I put 4 drops in there.
Yeah.
So
I had a little bit more than you and I went with 5 and it made it sweeter. So I'm going 7.5 and 7. So that's pretty much 2 thumbs up from us.
Anything on the spectrum over 5 is pretty good because I'm not very lenient with my scores. Like, I really ain't. I think very in depth when it comes to my scoring system.
Yeah.
And it seems like I've ranked very forgivingly because of the past few that we've actually had, but they were up there, I'm telling you. I still stand by my rankings on those, but this is a solid 7 for me.
And I like it as a 7.5, so we both like it.
It's a very enjoyable bourbon if you have the opportunity to get it. That is the Origin Series, and this is the series number 11, Discovery Series.
Discovery Series number 11. Tomorrow when I go to the tour, I will probably buy more Origin Series stuff. I'll probably get maybe a Weeded or a Weeded and a regular Origin Series, and maybe another bottled and bond. I don't do the ryes because ryes are whiskeys, and we do Kentucky bourbons.
We don't count this bottle; it's a baby bottle.
And I'm not saying that ryes are bad because I like a lot of the rye whiskeys. They're just not what we do our podcast on. So I don't.
It's not what we collect.
I don't spend my money on that. I'd rather have the bourbons that I collect.
We don't collect whiskeys. We collect bourbon.
Anyway, so I'll probably buy a bigger one of this, and another one of these tomorrow. I'll stay away from the Discovery and the Collaborative series that they make.
Let's cut back to earlier in the podcast before we started tasting when he said, I'm going to try not to buy that many. And he's already
got 3 bottles.
He's already said he's buying 3 bottles. So we'll see where it goes from there.
That's like low for me. We went to Bluegrass and I bought like everything they had. So anyway,
we'll eventually get around to that. We got to finish some of these open bottles.
We're doing good. I mean, there's only like 22 open bottles behind us now.
Yeah, that's literally half the year worth of podcast just in open bottles.
Now, some of them we've done podcasts on. We can clear those bottles out of there. We got to get some more. We can't let this shelf go empty. Look, I've already got a space. And there's 2 spaces down here.
It's all right. It shows up my Michelob sign.
Michelob in a bourbon basement. It does. It's
Superior light beer.
All right. I think we've rambled enough. Let's get out of here.
All right, guys. I appreciate you all tuning in as always. This was a very enjoyable episode. I was pleasantly surprised because I don't remember trying this one at all. So if you have the opportunity to get it, go give it a try. As always, guys, thank you all so much for giving us a little bit of time out of your day. Hope everyone has had a very happy new year thus far, and hopefully many more things to come and many more blessings. We've had a very good start to 2025 here in the Bourbon Basement. We got some big plans coming.
Raising the roof.
I don't know exactly what the big plans are, but the way it's starting out so far, it can only go up from here, right? All right, guys. All that being said, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve.
And why drink alone
when you can drink with us?
We'll see y'all next week.
Hey, can I have a hug?
No.
Then I'll settle for another warm Kentucky hug.